Discover the ancient secret to achieving your goals. I used to set huge goals every single year. And every single year, I'd end up feeling like a complete failure. I was drowning in my own ambition, and my to-do lists felt more like monuments to everything I hadn't done. New Year's resolutions that were history by February. Grand 5-year plans that I'd give up on in 5 weeks. I was always chasing this idea of success, this glittering image on the horizon, but it always felt impossibly far away. I did everything I was told to do. I downloaded the productivity apps. I read the best-selling books. I tried to hustle harder, optimize every second, and force my goals into existence. And what did it get me? Burnout, anxiety, and that quiet, nagging feeling that maybe I was the problem. But what if I told you the secret to finally achieving your goals isn't about working harder? What if it's about a lost philosophy that completely changed my life? What if the path to getting everything you want isn't a frantic sprint, but a calm, deliberate walk in the present? This is the story of how I stopped drowning and started living with purpose, all thanks to an ancient, 2-part system that's been hiding in plain sight for over 2,000 years. Every goal you set will eventually collapse if you don't first make one critical decision: who you will be. You have to decide on the person you want to become first. Then, and only then, can you do what's required to bring that person to life. For the ancient Stoics and the masters of Zen, goals weren't just items on a checklist. They were a way of living, a framework built on clarity, control, and presence, practiced every day until the results became the natural consequence of the person you had become. The modern trap of empty achievement. Let's be honest. We live in the most goal-obsessed society in history. We're told to dream big, set audacious goals, and always be striving for more. We're bombarded with images of success, the curated perfection on social media, the highlight reels of entrepreneurs working from a beach, the endless articles about the morning routines of billionaires. The message is loud and clear. If you're not constantly striving, you're falling behind. This creates a special kind of anxiety, a state of never being satisfied. The joy of reaching a goal lasts for a moment before our eyes are already on the next, bigger prize. We hit a target, and instead of feeling fulfilled, we just feel the pressure to set another one. We're all running on a hamster wheel we built ourselves, fueled by caffeine and the fear of being left behind. I was the poster child for this. My life was a mess of scattered priorities. One week, I was convinced I would become a marathon runner. I'd buy the fancy shoes and the GPS watch and go for a few painful runs. The next week, I'd see a documentary about a rock climber, and suddenly, my true calling was scaling mountains. The running shoes would end up gathering dust next to the barely used guitar, the half-read books on coding, and the sourdough starter I had named Dostoevsky that had long since perished from neglect. My goals weren't coming from me. They were just reactions to all the noise around me. I was chasing the dopamine hit of starting something new, but I had no discipline to see anything through. And procrastination wasn't just a bad habit, it was my default setting. Why? Because deep down, I didn't know why I was doing any of it. My goals were shallow. They were about what I wanted to have, not who I wanted to be. The modern world is designed to feed this weakness. It thrives on our distraction. Our attention is the new gold, and every app, every notification, every breaking news alert is designed to steal it. We're told to multitask, but that's a lie. Multitasking doesn't make you more productive. It just splinters your focus and ensures you do many things poorly instead of one thing well. I was living in a state of constant, low-grade overwhelm. I was always busy, but I was never productive. I was just spinning my wheels, creating the illusion of progress. And the silence at the end of the day was deafening, filled with the ghosts of all the things I said I would do, but didn't. This is the modern trap. It's a game you can't win, because the finish line is always moving. The discovery in ancient pages. My turning point didn't come from a new productivity hack. It came from a place of quiet desperation. I was just tired. Tired of my own excuses, tired of the cycle of excitement and disappointment, and tired of feeling like a spectre in my own life. I realized the modern approach wasn't just failing me, it was making things worse. It was all focused on the what you want to achieve. It never asked the most important question, who do you want to be? So, I started digging, not for new answers, but for old ones. I've always been fascinated by history and philosophy, and I wondered how people in the ancient world thought about living a good life. I stumbled upon the writings of the Stoics people, like Marcus Aurelius, the Emperor of Rome, Seneca, a famous playwright, and Epictetus, a man born a slave who became one of the most respected teachers of his time. I used to think Stoicism was about being emotionless and just gritting your teeth through pain. I was wrong. It's not about having no emotions. It's about not being controlled by them. It's about finding a sense of inner peace and strength, no matter what's going on around you. As I was reading, one idea from Epictetus hit me like a lightning bolt. It's so simple, yet it changes everything. The core of his message is this: first, say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Think about that for a second. First, say to yourself what you would be. I had been doing it completely backward. I was focused on the doing, the running, the coding, the guitar, without ever deciding who I was trying to become. My actions had no anchor. The Stoics taught that a life without a clear purpose is a scattered life. It's an idea Marcus Aurelius often wrote about, that without a guiding principle, you can't live in a consistent, meaningful way. I was living proof of that. This was the first half of the secret, the why, but I still needed the how. How do you stay focused in a world built on distraction? How do you actually execute your plan, day after day, without burning out? That's when I found the second piece of the puzzle, in a philosophy from the other side of the world, Zen Buddhism. If Stoicism gave me the strong, unbreakable frame of a ship, Zen provided the sails and the rudder. Zen isn't just about meditating, it's a philosophy of action. It teaches the art of being fully present in whatever you're doing. It's about giving your entire being to one thing at a time. And, most importantly, it teaches non-attachment to the outcome. The combination of the two was electric. Stoicism gave me the why, the clarity of purpose. Zen gave me the how, the calm focus to execute. Stoicism taught me how to build an unbreakable inner fortress. Zen taught me how to move through the world outside that fortress with grace and purpose. This wasn't just a philosophy. It was a complete operating system for living a life of meaning. The Ancient Wisdom, Part 1, The Stoic Resolve. The foundation of this whole system is what the Stoics called the dichotomy of control, and honestly, it might be the most powerful mindset shift you can ever make. Epictetus laid it out perfectly. Some things are up to us, and some things are not. That's it. But inside that simple idea is a universe of freedom. What's up to us? Our choices, our efforts, our judgments, our actions, basically our inner world, and how we decide to respond to things. What's not up to us? Pretty much everything else. The weather, the economy, what other people think of you, whether you get that promotion, the final outcome of your efforts is, ultimately, not in your complete control. For years, I had tied my happiness to things I couldn't control. I'd be devastated if I didn't get a job I wanted. I'd get furious if I got stuck in traffic. I was letting the outside world dictate my inner peace. The Stoics would say this is a form of madness. It's like trying to command the clouds to stop raining. You have no power there, and trying to exert it only leads to misery. So, the Stoic focus is never entirely on the outcome. It's on your effort. It's on your actions. Your goal isn't to win the race. That part isn't fully up to you. Someone else might be faster. You could trip. A storm could cancel the race. Your goal is to run the best race you are capable of running. It's to train with discipline, to perform with courage, and to focus on your own integrity. Whether you get the medal or not is separate from whether you succeeded as a person. This brings us back to that question from Epictetus. First, say to yourself what you would be. This is what we can call an identity goal. Instead of setting an outcome goal like write a novel, you set an identity goal like be a disciplined writer. And what does a disciplined writer do? They show up every day. They sit in the chair. They write. They focus on the process, the things they can actually control. This shift is so liberating. It removes the fear of failure, because you define success differently. If your goal is to write 500 words today, and you do it, you've succeeded. It doesn't matter if the words are perfect. You did what a writer does. You embodied the identity. And if you do that day after day, the outcome, that finished novel, starts to take care of itself. It becomes the natural result of the person you've chosen to be. The final piece of the Stoic puzzle is a tool called premeditatio malorum, which roughly means the premeditation of troubles. It sounds dark, but it's an incredibly practical way to build resilience. Each morning, you take a moment to imagine what might go wrong during your day. Not to create anxiety, but to prepare for it. Let's say your goal is to hit the gym after work. What could get in the way? Your boss might ask you to stay late. You might feel tired. Traffic could be a nightmare. The Stoic doesn't just hope for the best. They plan for adversity. They think, if my boss asks me to stay late, I will politely explain my commitment or do a shorter workout at home. If I feel tired, I will remind myself that I am a disciplined person and just focus on the first step, putting on my gym clothes. If there's traffic, I'll use that time to listen to a podcast and see it as a chance to learn. When you do this, you're no longer ambushed by obstacles. You have a plan. You turn potential problems into chances to practice your virtues, patience, creativity, and discipline. You become anti-fragile. Setbacks don't just fail to break you, they actually make you stronger. The Ancient Wisdom, Part 2, the Zen Focus. If Stoicism builds the unbreakable structure, Zen is the quiet, focused energy that fills it. It's the art of execution. While the world screams at you to do more, faster, Zen whispers a revolutionary idea. Do less, but do it better. The core idea we can draw from Zen here is mindfulness in action. This is the practice of doing one thing at a time. When you are writing, just write. Don't have 15 other tabs open. Don't check your phone. Don't think about the email you need to send later. Just be there with the words. Feel the keys under your fingers. Immerse yourself in the task. This sounds simple, but it's one of the hardest skills to build in our distracted world. Our brains have been trained to crave the next notification, the next hit of information. Focusing on one thing requires a conscious, deliberate effort, but the rewards are huge. When you truly focus, you can enter that state of flow, where you're so absorbed in an activity that time seems to disappear. The work itself becomes a source of joy, not just a chore. The second crucial principle inspired by Zen is non-attachment. This works perfectly with the Stoic dichotomy of control. The Stoics tell you to focus on your actions, not the outcome. Zen gives you the mental tools to actually do it. Non-attachment means you pour your heart and soul into your work, but you let go of your emotional grip on the results. You do your absolute best, and then you let the universe handle the rest. This doesn't mean you don't care. It means you understand that your happiness and your self-worth don't depend on external applause. You find fulfillment in the effort itself. The artist finds joy in the act of painting, not just the gallery show. The entrepreneur finds meaning in the process of building, not just the final sale. When you combine this with a Stoic identity goal, it's a superpower. Your identity is a disciplined writer. Your task is to write. You do it with complete, single-minded focus, and you aren't attached to whether people love your book or hate it. You did your part. You controlled what you could control. You found peace in the process. This leads to a final, practical idea that aligns with Zen, the power of systems over willpower. Willpower is finite. You can't just force yourself to be motivated all the time. A system, however, is a structure that makes doing the right thing the easiest thing. Instead of relying on willpower to go for a run, you build a system. You lay out your running clothes the night before. Your shoes are by the door. You have a set time you run every day. You've removed all the friction. You just execute the system. Small, consistent actions, built into a system, compound over time into incredible results. The transformation, AZY, where ancient wisdom meets modern science. When I started weaving these two philosophies together, everything changed. I stopped making grand, empty statements about what I was going to do. Instead, I started asking myself a simple question each morning: who do I want to be today? My answer might be, today I want to be a focused writer and a present father. That simple phrase became my guide for the day. The question wasn't, how can I finish my project? It was, what would a focused writer do right now? And the answer was simple. He would turn off his phone, close the extra tabs, and work on his most important task without interruption. When I was with my family, the question was, what would a present father do? He would put his laptop away and give his kids his undivided attention. And what's incredible is that this ancient wisdom is now being echoed by modern psychology. In the 1960s, researchers Edwin Locke and Gary Latham developed what's now known as goal-setting theory. After decades of research, they found that the most effective goals are specific and clear. They need to be challenging, but not impossible. And critically, you need consistent feedback on your progress. That's exactly what this ancient system provides. The Stoic identity gives you the clarity. Breaking it down into daily, controllable actions makes it specific and gives you immediate feedback. Did I do what I said I would do today? The Zen-inspired focus gives you the path to tackle challenging tasks without feeling overwhelmed. It's like the ancient philosophers and modern scientists arrived at the same truth from different directions. The transformation in my own life was profound. The constant, low-grade anxiety that had been my shadow for years began to disappear. It was replaced by a quiet confidence. I was no longer at the mercy of my moods or what was happening around me. I had a framework. I had a purpose. I started finishing things. The projects that had been gathering dust on my hard drive for years started getting done, one by one, not because I suddenly developed superhuman willpower, but because I had a system. I focused on the process, on showing up and being the person I had decided to be. The results, just like the philosophers promised, began to take care of themselves. I was no longer chasing success. I was living a life of purpose, and success became a natural byproduct. The framework, your two-part system for a life of purpose. So, how can you apply this system to your own life, starting right now? I've broken it down into 3 simple steps. This is how you turn these big ideas into a daily reality. Step 1. Define your Stoic identity goal. Forget about outcomes for a minute. Don't think about the money, the job title, or the praise. Ask yourself this one question: who do I want to be? Try this template. I will be a virtue role who, core behaviors. Let's break that down. Virtue. This is your guiding principle. Words like disciplined, courageous, patient, or present. Role. This is the area of your life you want to focus on. Writer, leader, athlete, parent. Core behaviors. These are the specific, controllable actions that person takes. Here are a few examples. I will be a disciplined writer who writes for 45 minutes every morning without distraction. I will be a present parent who puts away their phone from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. every night. I will be a courageous leader who tackles their most difficult task first thing in the morning. This is your North Star. Write it down. Put it somewhere you'll see it every day. Everything else is built on this foundation. Step 2. Build your Stoic Zen system. An identity is just a wish without a system to bring it to life. This system has 3 parts: a morning prep, a focus protocol, and an evening review. The morning ritual, the Stoic prep. Take 2 minutes in the morning. Look at your identity statement. Then, do a quick premeditation of troubles. Ask yourself, what might get in the way of being this person today? And how will I respond with purpose? Think through the likely challenges, distractions, fatigue, unexpected requests, and decide on your plan in advance. This arms you for the day. The focus protocol, the Zen execution. This is how you work. For your most important task, the one tied to your identity, you must practice single tasking. Set a timer, maybe 60 or 90 minutes. During that block, you do only that one thing. No email, no social media, no exceptions. If your mind wanders, gently bring it back to the task, just like you'd bring your focus back to your breath in meditation. This is how you do your best work. The evening ritual, the Stoic review. Before bed, take 5 minutes to reflect. Seneca, a Stoic philosopher, would ask himself what he did wrong, what he did right, and what he could do better. You can adapt this. Where did my actions align with my chosen identity today, and where did they fall short? And finally, what can I learn for tomorrow? This isn't about beating yourself up, it's about self-correction. It's a feedback loop that makes you a little better every single day. Step 3. Practice mindful non-attachment. This is the final mindset that holds it all together. As you follow your system, you have to consciously practice letting go of the results. Pour all your energy into your actions, into being the person you chose to be. That is where your power is. Once you've done the work for the day, your job is done. The outcome isn't your business. It doesn't define you. Your identity is the person who shows up and does the work with discipline and focus. Whether the world cheers or ignores you is irrelevant. You have already succeeded because you have lived in line with your own values. You find peace not in the destination, but in the walk itself. Conclusion. For years, I was lost in the modern jungle of productivity, chasing a ghost. I thought the answer was to run faster and hustle harder. The real answer was the opposite. It was to stand still, to ask myself who I really wanted to be, The secret wasn't out there in some distant future. It was inside me, waiting to be unlocked by wisdom that has been passed down for centuries. It's a simple system. The clarity of who you are, rooted in Stoic philosophy. The control of what you do, focused by Zen mindfulness. And the consistency of how you practice, day after day. This is the ancient secret. It's not a hack or a shortcut. It is a path. It's a way of living that replaces anxiety with purpose, distraction with focus, and the empty chase for success with a deeply fulfilling life. You have the power to stop being a leaf in the wind and become the captain of your own ship. So, let's take the first step right now. Go to the comments and share the identity you choose to embody. Use the framework, I will be a virtue role who core behaviors. Declaring it is a powerful first step. And if you want to learn how to build the perfect morning routine to support this new identity, make sure you subscribe, because in my next video, I'll guide you through a Stoic Zen morning ritual to start your day with purpose and power. Thank you for watching. Now go and be who you choose to be.